Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at Bellisio Foods.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where our good friend Maddie Allman is in the house. And we're going to talk about, this is going to be a fun one.
Yes, it is.
We're going to talk about little baby chickies.
I'm so excited. I've been waiting to bring this on the show. I've just been waiting for like the right time. And I think like today's a good day to showcase this project. And
we kept Josh at home.
Yeah, we kept Josh at home. So Josh is actually teaching beef cattle artificial insemination school this week.
Awesome. I hope he has a really long rubber glove.
Yeah, they do. Okay. They have lots of them. So there's a cohort of folks out at the extension office this week. So they started yesterday. They have class all day today and then class all day tomorrow. And then they get a certificate to leave at the end of the class. So we have a lot of folks out there that maybe are farm hands or own their own farms that are just looking for more education. A couple of vet students out there right now.
Nice.
Just some different folks that work in different areas of the industry that have to have that knowledge. So it's a really cool program that they're offering out there. Great food that they have for lunch, which I'm excited about. And yeah, so that's what he's doing today. He's busy doing his job and being an educator.
Oh, well, darn. So he can't come hang out with us today.
Nope, can't come hang out with us today.
Okay.
But that's all right. We don't need him, right?
Yeah, he's a boy. Boys are icky, right?
Yeah. But I did want, he asked me since he couldn't come on the show today, just to talk about a program that he has coming up. It's the drought program. Adrian, I don't know if he sent you that flyer maybe. Yes. So
well, let's just talk about that's appropriate.
Yes, yeah. So even though, and I'm not the ag agent, so I'm not like 110% well versed on this. But even though it's been raining a lot, you know, we've got a lot of moisture in the air right now, and it has been raining a lot since Hurricane Helene
Yes.
came through. We technically are still not out of the drought.
Mm-hmm.
We have not received enough inches of rainfall. So from what I understand, the drought is about 8 foot deep. And so we need about an inch for every foot of dryness, if that makes sense. So we need about 8 to 9 inches of rain in order to get out of the drought.
And we didn't get that the other day.
No, we did not.
That's
we've
wild.
only gotten about 3 inches ish, 3.5 inches of rain. So
isn't that wild though to think that we had all of that rain and not even close to getting out of the drought?
Yes, yeah. So we're in what we call a persistent drought. And so they have come up with a program. As you can see, there's like 4 dates down there. They're doing them all across the state. So one is in probably like Caldwell, maybe one near Columbus, if I had to guess. And then one is actually here in Jackson at our research farm. So that third option down there, I think it's October 24th. In the evening at the extension office. They're going to have some extension specialists. Garth Ruff, our extension beef specialist particularly, join us here for a program just to talk about what are your options. A lot of people are short on hay. They're worried about how they're going to feed their cows through the winter and just kind of keep their operations going. What are
worried?
Yes, yeah. What are some options maybe for some relief, some funding, different things like that. And just in general, how to get those cows fed this winter. So a lot of people have been feeding hay since August. And so what options do they have, you know, when maybe March or February, January rolls around, you know? So
it's very, and that's unheard of. And plus, then we don't have more hay. We're feeding hay already, but don't have more hay because it hasn't grown.
Yeah. And so I feel like this program is really going to be focused on beef cows, but just from kind of what I've heard about the program, again, I'm not the ag agent. If you have questions about this program, you can contact Josh. But if you've got maybe horses or small ruminants or maybe some other form of livestock, this might be a good program for you to attend as well, just to learn more about what your options are.
Okay.
Because beef cows aren't the only animals that eat hay, right? So,
no.
so anyway, if you have questions about the drought or how it's affecting you or how to feed animals or anything like that, ag related to the drought, contact Josh. They have a lot of resources to be able to give to you.
That's awesome.
The Farm Service Agency as well, Andy Nelson and all of those folks, they're working really hard to get information out to farmers and even small farmers about the drought. So I wanted to put a plug in for that
Glad you
program
did.
straight off the bat, since Josh isn't here to really plug it for himself. So
And that's terrifying. I mean, we as human beings worry about feeding ourselves, but we're pretty resourceful. We can figure things out.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're responsible for all of this livestock, I mean, that's a really scary predicament to be in.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Especially, even small farmers, they might not have a huge head of cows, but it doesn't matter. Small farmers to large scale farms, figuring out how to feed animals that you don't have feed for,
Yeah.
might be a struggle.
Find
so.
your local brewery.
Yeah.
My father-in-law, well, we have two farmers, my father-in-law and then another farmer that come and get our spent grain and use that for livestock.
Yeah, that's
And
a great
I mean,
idea.
Any brewery you're near, find it. They will be happy to give you their grain.
That's a great idea. I never knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
My father-in-law, his cows are just,
Grain fed.
they're very, very, shall we say, happy cows.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, just wanting to quickly plug a couple of other things that we have coming up. I sent a flyer in about our open hike night at Canner's Cave. That's going to be next week. So we did this last
Fun.
year and we had a lot of people join us. So we're doing it again. The Jackson City Library does a hiking series where they just highlight different spots around the county and the local area and take folks on hikes. So they approached us last year like, hey, could we come out to Canner's Cave? And so Canner's
Perfect.
Cave is private property. We have youth out there all the time. So, and different events and stuff like that. So it's not open to the public. So anytime that we can do an open hike night at camp, it's kind of a rare opportunity to get the public out there and up on our trails. So
Yeah.
we're going to do an open hike night on October 7th. That's also Josh's birthday. So
Happy birthday early, Josh.
everybody bring him a cupcake or
Yes.
something but we're going to do that evening. I think we're going to start at 5 or meet at 5:30 and start, a few minutes after everybody gets there. And my warnings would be the trail that I think we're choosing. It could be a little difficult. So wear sturdy shoes. It is wet outside right now. I don't know what it's going to look like a week from now, but I do know there's maybe some more rain in the forecast. So it may be pretty muddy or wet. So just wear sturdy shoes and clothes layers maybe. We'll be out on the trails for about an hour. But yeah, it'll be super fun. I'm really excited. So join Josh and I and some of the staff out at Canner's Cave and staff from the Jackson City Library for our open hike night at camp.
That's right. And this is the time of the year where Canner's Cave is absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, if you've never been out there, I mean, so many of us have been there and been in the lodge, for a wedding or whatever, the art festival or whatever. But there's a whole lot more to it than that. And these hiking trails, there's a lake, there's all kind of fun stuff.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it'd be a good time for you to have a guided tour by an expert that knows the area.
Yes, absolutely. So that one will be super fun. Trying to remember what else I sent. I'm having, just for 4-H wise, a junior leaders club meeting on Thursday, I think the 10th. And so that group it's not new, but since I've started my position, I've kind of slacked off in that area. And so it's a group of teens that just come together, once a month or every other month just to hang out, build some leadership skills, some citizenship skills, maybe do a service project,
Awesome.
and just kind of do something fun. So we are going to try and do some pumpkin carving, maybe, if I can source some pumpkins.
You can find pumpkins.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so we're going to usually at these meetings, we talk about all of the opportunities that these teens have in 4-H. There's so much, I think when people think of 4-Hers, they think of like that 8 to 10-year-old kid. The average age of a 4-H member is 11. So
Oh,
they think,
really?
yeah, they
Okay.
think of that little kid. And so when actually 4-H members get into middle school, high school, we lose a lot of them.
They
And
get busy, and that's
yes, yeah,
understandable.
yeah, absolutely. So I think we have really tried to focus as like a state 4-H program on opportunities for teens. There's so many organizations that they can join, leadership positions that they can be in, scholarships, awards, trips. They're taking a trip to Greece this spring.
Sign me up.
I know, right? So just so many opportunities for teens, and so that junior leadership club is a space for those kids to just kind of get together, hang out, and learn about some of those things. So
Well, here's the thing, and that sounds all good. And plus, listen, all of the kids out there have to do or community service hours
yes.
now to graduate. I don't care what school you go to. So you can incorporate all of that into that while doing fun things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be fun. I'm really excited. So we have our camp counselors, we have our junior fair board. So like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? That junior leaders club meets in the off months. The junior fair board and camp
Okay.
counselors don't meet. So we start up camp counselor training and junior fair board prep for the fair kind of in like January, February. So the junior leadership club meets from like after the fair, like in August to January, February. And then it kind of morphs into that group because it's kind of all the same kids, right? So,
That would have been so fun
yeah.
because I think about being in 4-H and of course, we didn't have cell phones and social media and all that stuff, but having to wait those months to like start to see your friends again that you
Yeah.
don't see because you went to a different school or
Yeah.
whatever. So that would be neat that you could keep
Just a fun,
keep touch all year round.
yeah, just a fun way to stay together. Nothing crazy serious or anything like that, but just ways to connect with the kids and share opportunities. So, another thing that I wanted to plug just super quickly before we get into our activity is 4-H discount cards. So for those of you that come to the Apple Festival booth every year to purchase your cards, our cards came in late this year. I know, fire
No.
me. So they were stuck with UPS, and I could have like had a fist fight. They were like stuck somewhere on a UPS truck for like 3 days, and like they would send me an email and be like, they're gonna get delivered, and then I would get another email and be like, your package has been delayed. And I'm like, I just want to bang my head up against a wall. So they're here finally.
Frustrating.
They got here like Thursday or Friday of the Apple Festival. So they are $5. They feature discounts to, I think, 24 local businesses. We have lots of new discounts this year as well. And all of that money goes to support our 4-H program. So connect if you know a club member or a club advisor.
Awesome.
Connect with them. Usually our clubs sell them to kind of fundraise for their clubs. But also we have them available at the extension office as well. So you can purchase them there. So please, please, please buy yourself a 4-H discount card. That really helps us fundraise a good chunk of our money.
Awesome.
And then finally, for those of you, this is kind of another ag thing, that have goats. There is
That was random.
that have goats. There is a all about goats webinar, which is like a Zoom series. So you don't have to leave your home. And you can pick and choose like which sessions that you want to attend. But the state extension folks are kind of putting this on. It's for both youth and adults. You can have all the experience with goats or none at all. But it's just a very good all-encompassing introductory webinar for goats. So we wanted to plug that as well because, believe it or not, Jackson County is a very goat-heavy county. We raise a lot of goats in this area.
Interesting. So here's the thing. So there was a fella in the other day to talk about this disc golf deal that they have in Hamden on October 5th. And he brought his little boy in with him. And somehow, how did we get on the subject of the goat? This kid, I'm not joking. All he talked about was wanting a goat.
I love it. Well, he can.
Oh, I know. I asked him if he had a dog. And he said, "No, I want a goat." And his dad was like, "He's not kidding. That's all he talks about."
Well,
And
you
so
can't just have one, you have to have two.
see, you have
Yeah.
to have
You
two.
have to have
And I
two.
was like, "Well, okay. Like, what kind of goat do you want? Like one of the little pygmy goats, or like what?" He's like, "No, a full-grown, old, ginormous goat. That's what I want." And I mean, he was dead, and his dad's like, he is dead serious. That's all he talks
Well,
about.
I may or may not know some people
We
who
need to get this
have
kid
goats.
hooked up with you.
Yes, including Josh Winters, our ag agent. They have about 13 goats still at their old farm that are just old. So if he's looking for an old goat, I might be able to source one.
Listen, so it's a thing. If you're watching this morning, disc golf guy, give us a ringy ding.
Yeah.
We'll hook you up.
I can connect you.
Yeah, and I was like, "Well, what do you want it to sleep in your bed?" He's like, "Oh, it can stay outside." They live like in Colton.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, "Oh, that would be interesting."
Yeah.
So
Fun. I love it. Well,
maybe this would be his start.
yeah, that's my kind of spiel of things that we've got going on this month. And support your local ag agent, support your local 4-H educator,
Yep.
attend community programs. They're so important. But if you're looking for resources and education when it comes to youth development or agriculture and natural resources, we got you. So just give us a call. But I want to get into this because this is super cool.
Baby chickies. We don't have any, so don't get all excited.
I know it's not chick season, and so I told Jen before when I walked in, she was like, "What do you got for me today?" I was like, "Well, I've been kind of going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to bring this onto the show because this is a program that I do in the spring with schools, but I wanted to share it with you guys now in the fall." So if you're a teacher or maybe a homeschool parent or a community organization that wants to get involved with this program, you can contact me now so we can kind of get scheduled and figure that out. So I have lots of fun with this. So what I have for you guys today is a program that we call Chick Quest. And so this is a 4-H program.
This isn't speed dating.
Yeah.
Chick Quest.
In partnership with Grow Next Gen that we do typically in schools where we hatch chicks. It's a chick incubation program. Yeah.
I can't think of anything more fun for the kids to like be so excited to go to school.
Oh my gosh, they love it so much. And I usually, and some, I do it, I would say I started at the earliest, like late March in a lot of schools, to like the end of the school year in May. And I feel like it's just a really great way to like end their year and like get them, how like the end of the school year can be. It can just kind of drag.
Very.
So it's just something that gets them excited about coming to school again and makes them look forward to the school day. So the way that this works is I have a flyer that I sent you, I think, Adrian, for school programming. And on that flyer, that has already gone to all of the schools, but I will probably send it a lot more times. So hopefully you receive it if you're
So you don't have an excuse.
If you're in the schools. But this is kind of all the things. You can't really read it because it's kind of tiny, but this is all the things that I do in the schools. And that flyer has my contact information on it. So you can get a hold of me. You can call the office, email me, whatever, and we can get this program started. But you can kind of see the kids up there on the second photo there. They have their little chick in their hands. So Chick Quest is a huge school program that we do. But what we do is I have curriculum. So some teachers have their own curriculum. I can also provide you these. And so what this is there's a teacher guide, which is this purple book, and then a student logbook, which is this yellow one. I only have a few of these and they're actually kind of expensive. So I just ask that you make copies out of them. And instead of writing in this one, that way we can use them for years and years and share amongst all of our classroom educators in the county. And so there's lots of really neat activities in here. So do you know how many days it takes to hatch an egg?
I was actually going to ask you that question. I mean, I would have no idea. Is it like 30 days?
So you're close. It's going to be 21. So right here, what I have in front of me
21
is actually I have my 21 eggs here, and it's our life cycle. So on day 1, you have your little eggie here. And there's your day one right there on the inside of your egg. And so I take these into the schools. You can kind of pop them open.
So fun.
And then by the end of the 21 days, you have your little chickie. So there he is.
There he is.
I don't know if you can see him, your little chickie. And so it's super fun. So when I kind of start in the classroom, some teachers do it all themselves. Some of them rely heavily on me. But I bring this in. So I don't know if you can kind of, if that's loud, if you can see it in the lights. But this is your 21-day calendar of your chick life cycle. So we talk about fertilization. We talk about all of those things in a PG, like, child way. And there's actually a lot of resources on Grow Next Gen, videos and things like that explain that to the kids in a way that...
Well, because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm so city girl. I don't even know. Are there egg? Like, can any egg become a chicken?
No, not any egg can become a chicken.
I don't know. Like the eggs you get at the grocery store, probably.
They are not fertilized. So eggs that turn into chicks have to be fertilized. And so there's a lot of really great resources here. I'll set this down.
Okay. So can we PG-ish talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So
I don't know.
That's the point of this, right? Is to talk about those things. And, kids that go to public school, they learn about reproduction and all of that and biology and everything. But we don't really teach them that until middle school, high school?
I was going to say
sixth
grade.
So this education guide, especially Grow Next Gen, and when I go into classrooms with the teachers, I kind of meet with them first, and I have developed my own little resource guide. So it's not as fancy looking as these, but it points them to a lot of these resources that are online that go along with this curriculum. And so Grow Next Gen has a lot of really cool videos that they have put professionally together that explain it, but in a way that is child friendly. And
that's good.
Depending on even a parent's wishes, it would fit any sort of wishes, if that makes sense. So it's actually really cool. Talks about how there are different types of eggs and we sort them. So I don't know if you can kind of see on here this picture right here on the front of this book, but we talk about what's the difference between large poultry processing facilities versus maybe the chickens that maybe your cousin has in their backyard, or
the ones that are just running around.
Yeah. And so what does that look like? How do we hatch a bunch of eggs, and why are the ones at the grocery store not able to hatch into chicks, and why are these ones that I'm bringing into your classroom able to? And so there's also a life cycle poster that I have here too that kind of talks about that, the chicken or the egg inside the hen. And then it's the egg in the nest. The hen lays the egg, and then she roosts, and then it hatches, and then just kind of goes around the cycle there. So they can kind of see where it develops in there, inside the chicken. And we have conversations about that, and do they poop out the egg and all that silly stuff.
That's an interesting. I could see kids being like, I don't get that at all.
Yeah. So it's really it's a really good program, and it just kind of walks them through being scientists. So I think another thing that's important for kids these days is to think of themselves as scientists. I think a lot of kids, and including ourselves as adults, think of scientists as I don't know, these people in lab coats that are super duper smart and
with glasses and they're untouchable.
The little chemical bottles and they're untouchable, right? We could never see ourselves.
They're brilliant.
Yeah, and so actually a lot of people are scientists in everyday life, right? When you're brewing beer, right? That's science.
You're not kidding.
And so talking to them, so from the very beginning, they learn about the scientific method. What are scientists? What's making inferences and observations? And then throughout this whole experiment, this 21-day experiment, they are scientists. And so they're measuring the eggs. They're taking the temperature of the incubator, the humidity. They're looking at time versus temperature. Did it go down over the evening that they were gone at home after school? And just all of this really, really cool stuff. So they measure, they hypothesize, they investigate eggshells and their like thickness. They do a lot of really cool experiments. And then all in the meantime, their eggs are incubating and hatching.
We hope.
We hope, right? Yeah. So this is it's just so cool. I really enjoy it. So I do incubation programs in classrooms. I think my youngest classroom was in first grade this year, up to fifth grade. And then I also have a middle school program called Chickenology, which kind of builds off.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah, it kind of builds off of the things that they learned when they hatched in elementary school. So in Chickenology, it's focused on life science and genetics. So a lot of that biology stuff and how things are created. So it's pretty cool. It fits a lot of your science standards in your classroom. They do a lot of scientific experiments as well. So actually in this one, they have to build their own incubator and have it like keep heat and temperature and stuff like that, which is really cool, using like everyday items, like think like the styrofoam coolers that you can get at the store, and hot hands, like the hand warmers and things like that. So it's pretty neat. They learn about like cell division and like all of the things that are happening inside that egg that you don't really learn about in elementary school, but now that you're in 8th grade, you're starting to learn about that in science
process
class.
it a bit better.
Yes, yeah, right. So it's really, really cool. I love the science lessons, but also just that aspect of I'm a scientist, right? Like it's a very cool program. So what I do is I bring in this lovely box.
I know she comes tossing this thing and I'm like,
And in my magic box, I usually have an incubator. Now this is a mini incubator, so this one only holds 6 eggs. Yeah, this one's tiny, but I have these ones are cool because they're like clear. I don't know if you can see them, but you can actually see all the way into the incubator and like watch them kind of roll around in there.
Yeah.
So I have several of these that this one holds 6, but I have 3 or 4 that hold 12. And then I have like the big styrofoam incubators that hold up to 24 eggs. Usually I only hatch about a dozen in a classroom though. So, but I have all different kinds of incubators. This one's cute too because it has different attachments that can do like little tiny quail eggs and yeah. So your kit comes with an incubator. I also have egg candlers. Have you ever candled an egg before?
No, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
So egg candling is something that the students do as their eggs are developing in their classrooms. So it's kind of like a little flashlight, but you take your egg out of the incubator. Sorry, I just shine that in your eyes. And this one is like not a real egg, right? Mm-hmm. But you're going to like turn the lights off in your classroom and candle your egg. So then you would be able to see the development
the light into it.
Inside the egg. So when we looked at our poster here, right, they were kind of able to see here because they've cracked the egg open. But there's some pictures here of what you would be able to see as you are looking through that eggshell candling it. So you can't just crack open your eggs.
That is super cool.
Yeah, like you can't crack them open while they're developing and look and see what they're doing, right? Like,
I mean, that wouldn't be smart.
Defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
So the candling of the egg helps us know where we are at in our development. And we can keep track of like, okay, did this egg make it to maybe day 9 and then quit? Because sometimes that happens. Or are we still going? So I usually like to candle really between days like 6 to 13. And then once they start kind of 13, 14, you can't see anything because that chick is in there, right? And then it gets like really dark. But then they can physically see the development of that egg. So yeah, you take your candler, you kind of turn off the lights in your classroom, you turn it on, and then you hold it up, and then you can see the development of your egg in there, which is really pretty cool. So
that is cool.
I give each classroom a candler, and then they of course get, when their chicks hatch, some of my classrooms they'll keep them for a couple of days in their classroom. So I give you your tote, which is a good brooder box. This is going to be a heater to keep your chicks warm. Why do you think you need to keep your chicks warm? Do you know?
This is after they're hatched?
After they're hatched, yes. Well, you have to keep them warm while they're in the incubator as well.
Do you have to
But
keep, let's see, why do you have to keep them warm? I don't know.
yeah, so they don't quite have the biology to regulate their body temperature yet. So in the incubator, so this one's kind of fancy. It's got a digital display on the top. So in the incubator, you have to keep them at 99.5 degrees and about 60% humidity. So you put a little bit of water in the bottom there
Okay.
every couple of days or so often to keep them nice and humid. And we teach the kids, you know, inside when you crack open that egg, what's inside it?
Like the runny stuff?
Yeah,
The
liquid,
yolk?
right? So the chick itself is a cell inside the yolk, right? And so as that cell develops, it absorbs that yolk. So the yellow stuff that when you crack open an egg is not the chick. It's nutrients for the chick, if you didn't know that. There's your fun fact for the day.
Makes
So
sense.
then
Adrian's like looking like his mind's going over there.
So the yellow stuff is actually not the chick. It's actually nutrients that the chick absorbs. So just like we develop from cells, so do chicks. And so that yellow stuff is what as they actually don't absorb it until they're like just ready to hatch, like those last few days of development. And then after they hatch, they actually don't really eat or drink up to like 72 hours after they've hatched because they have all of that nutrients, right? All that protein. Think about what's in an egg that's good for us, right? So the white, like clear kind of liquid, that's think of that as like fluid that would protect that baby inside that egg, right? So that fluid's also going to help keep them lubricated as they like exit the egg and everything like that. So that's why we need to keep our eggs nice and humid so they don't dry up in there, because sometimes they can get stuck in their little eggshell and can't come out. Yeah, so we talk about all of those things, and that's why it's important to keep track of our temperature and our humidity every single day. So usually they'll put up a chart and they'll write it on the chart every single day, twice a day, and all that fun stuff. So after your chicks hatch, I give you your little heater. I also provide you some handy dandy outdated telegram newspapers to line the bottom of your
No offense, Pete.
These are from a long time ago, like 2022, I think, or 2023. Yeah, I come in here and I buy like the $5 stacks of old newspapers, and then that's what I line the bottom of your incubator with, or your brooder box, I guess, with. Some of you ask, like, do you use a heat lamp? I don't use a heat lamp. I used to, and then I bought these handy dandy brooder heater things here.
What does that look like?
They're a lot safer. You can see here. So it's just kind of like a hot plate. Think of it. It kind of looks to me like a griddle that you like put pancakes on. But so you can lay it flat this way, or you can stand it up this way, and you can see the chickens just kind of huddle up next to it to keep warm. I find that these are a lot safer than a heat lamp.
I mean, they burn you.
Yes, they do. So, and a lot of schools don't like to have the heat lamps in their classrooms and stuff. So
they are kind of a fire hazard.
Yes, they are a fire hazard. So I have found that these work really nice. They give the chicks a place to kind of huddle under and hide. They feel a lot more protected. And they're just a lot safer for our classrooms and our kids. Because if you touch it like with your hand, it's not going to burn you. So if a kid like reaches under there to grab a chick or something, it's not going to burn them like a heat lamp would.
Much smarter.
Yeah. So, and then of course I give you some like food and water, little guys. Look how cute these are with your chickens on them.
These are adorable.
Aren't they so cute?
Okay,
thank you, Tractor Supply.
Yes, thank you. I have a super city girl question for you.
Okay.
So most of the time when critters are born, whether it be humans or dogs or cats or whatever, mommy feeds them.
Yeah.
So chicks, mommy does not feed them,
No,
right?
mommy does not feed them. Chickens are actually super smart. Like you wouldn't think that because they just kind of are like, beep, 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 right? But
they're cute though.
They are cute. So when your chicks hatch, you leave them in the incubator until they're fully dry. And like I said, they're usually fine for up to like 3 days after they hatch without eating because they've absorbed all that nutrients from their egg. And so you can leave them in here until everybody's nice and dry and fluffy.
So they just bouncing
And
around
they're
off
just,
each other.
they're just
like,
hanging out and
"Woo!"
they're like, okay, like I'm alive now, right? Like, and so then once they're all dry and happy, and everybody's hatched, you'll set up your brooder box here, get it nice and warm. I usually give you like a little Ziploc bag of shavings too, just to kind of put in the bottom there.
That would make sense.
And then you're gonna plop them in there. And
mommy's mommy's like not within the.
Mommy's not here. So you have your food in here, and then you have your water. And the best practice is to, as you take the chick from incubator, you dip their little beak in the water and then put them in the brooder. So you have your water sitting in the brooder, and you just kind of show them like, hey, here's your water source. So then they've wet their beak, and then they know where their water source is. And then you'll just see them like, and so instantly, as soon as a chick hatches, you'll see them peck. They start pecking at every little thing. And I mean, that's genetics, right? They learn to peck out of their shell. That's what they're taught to do, right? They have to peck out of their shell.
I guess that's how they are born.
As soon as you see them come out of their egg and they get all dry and everything, and they're like, okay, I'm alive, right? They're going to peck at every little thing, just like an adult chicken does. They just peck, 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 peck. And so eventually they find something tasty. And they're like, oh, that's great stuff. And so then that's when they will eat their food because it's tasty, right? But yeah, they start pecking as soon as they come out of their shells.
I feel like we should do that here.
We absolutely can. We can put a live stream on them. I do it at the library every year, and they put a camera on theirs, so they can watch them, just to keep an eye on there. But yeah, we can absolutely do it here. We can put a live stream camera on them. That would be awesome. But yeah, so then teachers will keep them in their classroom for a couple of days. Some teachers take them home to their own farms and keep them. I have a supporter who gives us eggs to do this for free.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So where do these eggs that we know are fertilized, or we hope are fertilized?
It just kind of depends. L.A. Morgan and Annie Miller in our extension office, they provide a lot of the eggs because they have a lot of chickens. So I know you guys are watching, so huge thank you to you guys. And sometimes they just take them back. Sometimes the teachers find homes for them. Just kind of depends on which teacher. We talk about it before we even start. Is kind of a thing.
You have to have a plan,
yes,
right?
Yeah, we plan it out. I have a 4-H supporter that they donate eggs to us, and they just ask that any of them that hatch, they get back. So it's just kind of like they're not doing the work to incubate them, the kids are, and then they get them back at the end. So just with the expectation that sometimes we don't have the best hatch rates. It's kids. Think about it's a really good deal. But if you have chickens that and fertilized eggs and you're looking to get involved, we can incubate them for you and attempt to hatch them in some of our local schools. So contact me.
Okay, here's the city girl question of the century. How do you know whether an egg's been fertilized or not?
That's a great question.
Because, my father-in-law has chickens. He goes out, he loves his chickens. They're his little babies. And it's a whole thing. He puts them in at the same time every night. They go to bed and whatever. But I don't know. He brings us eggs. We eat them.
So
how do you know?
The first thing is you do not need a rooster, which is a male chicken, right, to have eggs. So if you have a bunch of female chickens, which are hens, if you have a bunch of hens in your backyard, they're just going to lay eggs. And those eggs are not fertilized. They just lay eggs all the daggone time. They slow down in the winter because, but for the most part, they lay about 1 egg a day.
It's so funny that, why?
They that's just the way that the Lord made them, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
God.
Yeah, chickens, so hens will just lay an egg just about every day or every other day. And so if you do not have a rooster, if there is no male chicken around, then they are not fertilized. We know that, right?
Sure.
We know how that works, I'm assuming.
Do we really want to talk about
And so if you do have a rooster in your backyard with your hens, does that rooster have access to your hens? Do you see them frolicking about often, right?
Frolicking. Is that what
I'm trying to keep it PG.
Frolicking.
Fornicating. procreating. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like all those words.
Yes.
And so you
Doing what chickens do.
doing what chickens do. Yeah. What all species on Earth were intended to do. And so if you see that happening, obviously they could be fertilized. But then you're like, okay, but did it really like happen, right? Like, because sometimes those things can happen and it doesn't get fertilized. So
Right.
then we look at our egg. So if you're like our backyard breeder and you have chickens at your house, crack one open and, you know, put it in your pan. And do you see that little, you can't really see it on our camera, guys. I'm sorry. It's kind of tiny. But on this egg, do you see that little white spot there in the yolk? So those are going to be your developmental cells. So those are those cells that I'm talking about that are going to turn into this chicken. So once again.
So just to interrupt you, but when you crack open an egg like that you get from the grocery store, there's like a little white thing in there.
Yeah, sometimes no eggs in the grocery store are fertilized.
Okay.
That's just like, and they can't be because they go through like, you know, they get refrigerated and this and that. Like you don't refrigerate fertilized eggs because then that stops the development.
Yeah, they
right?
wouldn't be able to develop.
Yes, yeah. So none of your eggs in the grocery store are fertilized.
Okay.
But sometimes you might get some extra protein in there. Like think about like genetics and like how cell development works. Some things, it's not just like the same every single time, right?
Okay.
So you might have some extra little things in there. But if you see a little white spot with a ring around it, that's like the important thing.
It's like a perfect
It's kind of
ring.
like a bullseye.
Yeah.
That those are your cells that are fertilized and ready for development. So this is going to be your egg and this is going to be your sperm, right? So think about it that way. Then you kind of see it start to develop little veiny guys.
Mhm.
And then eyeballs, and then feathers, and little chicken feet, and the beak, and then it kind of goes from there. But it all starts with just this little tiny kind of white spot in that yolk of that egg. But yeah, like sometimes you might see some extra kind of protein development over here, especially in like the there's a special word for this, and I can't even remember it right now. It shows you what kind of
The white part.
educator I am. There's like different parts of your yolk, right? But you might see some up in here, and that's just kind of extra different proteins and things like that. But yeah, where's my other poster? I have another poster here that I think this one maybe, or is this the same one? No, that's the same one. There's an activity in here actually in the student's logbook where they learn about the parts of the egg. Here it is. And so then there's actually labels for the different parts of the egg that they learn. So there's an egg sac or an air sac. So actually, when you get your eggs from the grocery store next time, look and see which way they are placed in that egg carton. Because your fertilized eggs, you'd never want to put that air sac, which is the fat egg or like the fat part of the egg, down like this. Because then...
So the skinny part goes
down.
down.
The skinny part always goes down because that's where your development is. So you want to keep that air sac open because that's going to help the development of your chick there. It's going to help them breathe, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So they need to have that air sac in the end of that egg there. But yeah, so we do this program usually in the spring. So if you're a teacher, we do it at the Jackson City Library every year. If we want to do it here on Main Street TV, we absolutely can. I think we should live stream
We
it.
could put it in Pete Wilson's office.
Yeah, that would be excellent.
We're going to hatch baby chicks in your office, Pete.
Yeah.
Aren't they cute? Yeah.
But connect with me this fall because I have, I think, 8 incubators. So it takes some coordination, to plan those 21 days. And then hatch those chicks, leave them in the classroom a couple of days, bring that stuff back, clean it all up, and get it to the next classroom. So kind of take some planning of like, okay, this classroom is going to hatch here this week, and then you know what I mean?
You kind of have to stagger them a little bit.
Yes, yeah. So I stagger them. So I hatch, from March to May. So contact me now so we can get that figured out. And
what happens if all the eggs don't hatch all at the same time?
They will. They do.
Okay.
So, and like, I have teachers that'll call me, it's day 21 and they haven't hatched yet. It might take day 22 or day 23. It just kind of depends, just like human babies, right? Some come early, some come late.
Yep.
And so, but usually they all hatch like within 24 to 48 hours of each other.
Okay.
And so, there's a biological process. So when one chick it's called pipping. You hear them in there and they go peep, 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 and they start pipping and doing the end of their shell. That kind of triggers everybody else.
Everybody's like,
So
"Oh, wake up!
It's time, right?" Like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, absolutely. They're and you will have some that don't hatch. It happens. It's biology. You'll have some that start to develop and then they stop for whatever reason. Your humidity got too low, or maybe it wasn't viable or strong enough or whatever.
Just like humans or any other animals.
Yeah. So maybe the temperature dropped too low one night. And then all your eggs just, stop developing. So it happens, but that's part of the learning process. And we teach about the life cycle and science. It's part of science. So it's hard sometimes, but
it is.
We always make it happen. We'll find chicks from another classroom and we'll bring them in, or we'll make it a positive experience no matter what.
So one more question before I let you go. So once they're hatched, and you say they stay in the classroom for a day or 2 or 3, and then they go on.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just throw baby chicks out into the?
No.
Or what do you do with them, like when you take them home?
Yeah. So Josh and I actually we teach a program. We actually didn't schedule it this year. Maybe we need to schedule it for 2025. But we teach a program on raising chickens. So starting from incubation to like all the way to when they start producing their own eggs. And so you have to separate them. They have to stay in a brooder. It just kind of depends on the breed of chicken, but anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks, if not longer.
Oh, so you have to care for these suckers.
Yeah, they're little babies, right?
Yeah.
Actually, so when chickens have something called a pecking order. I don't know if you've heard that before, saying.
Yeah.
So that's a real thing with chickens. So actually, as soon, let's say this is all of these eggs sitting here are the ones that we're incubating. As soon as they hatch, they establish a pecking order. So this egg might be at the top and this egg might be at the bottom, and then all the rest are in between. Mm-hmm. So you have to be really careful about introducing those chickens to another pecking order, because that pecking order will establish dominance.
And they're like,
and then they'll fight and it'll be like a whole thing. So you do have to you have to be weird with chickens and take your time introducing them to each other. Like my mom and dad, for example, they have chickens, and they have kind of like a separation area. So we have like baby chickens, right? And then like teenage chickens and then like adult chickens, right? Like think about it that way. And so once those chicks are too big for their brooder, right? They turn into teenage chickens. They kind of go into this separate little pen. So there's just like a chicken wire separating them. So but
they're still kind of exposed.
Yeah, like the adult chickens and the teenage chickens can still like see each other and smell each other and like interact, but they can't like kill each other yet. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just kind of depends. But you have to be really careful about introducing them to each other.
Just get along and love each other?
But yeah, you cannot throw those little baby chickens in with the rest of your adult ones. Okay. Those adult ones will kill them. Okay. So yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
See,
now you know. But if you have any questions, please give me a call, or Josh, your ag agent, a call. We're happy to come in and do chick quests with your classrooms. If you're maybe a homeschool parent and you're looking to maybe do this, we're happy to lend some of our supplies to you as well. We work with a lot of homeschool families that use our 4-H curriculum. So give us a call. We're happy to make this happen. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Maddie. This is always so fun when you stop by.
And now I'm going to clean up all my crap that I've spread all over.
You're totally fine.
You guys should see it. There's stuff everywhere.
There is stuff everywhere, but it's okay because we love her. And then Pete Wilson is going to come over here in just a minute. But first, we have a message from our friends at Vinton County Bank, and then we'll be back. Not going to play, so there you go. So while Maddie is cleaning up all of the stuff, this has been so fun today. Love that.
I know. I hope you enjoy.
Yay! Oh, we always love when you stop by. It's always so much fun. Do you have the weather pulled up there, Adrian?
No, but I can quickly grab it for you.
Okay, yeah, because I know a lot of people, as Maddie and I were talking at the beginning of the program, we are still in a drought.
And on a burn ban.
And on the burn ban, yes. So listen up, because yeah, Pete and I talked about that I think yesterday. Everybody thinks that it's gone. Thank you, Maddie.
Of course.
Because we had all the rain and it is not certainly done. So I was just wondering if we had any rain in the forecast, Adrian. That's all. Thank you. So looks like, let's see, today is Wednesday, and it looks like a little bit of a chance, and then not really a lot of rain until the beginning of your work week. See ya. All right. Well, Pete Wilson is in the house, and you are always full of it. We know that.
Okay. Well, thank you, I think.
Yes.
All right. Well,
When I say full of it, I mean that with all good intention.
Okay. All right. Well, I believe you because you wouldn't lie to me, would you?
No.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll start off with a alert from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office on the traffic side. Just Go West Road is a main kind of thoroughfare in the rural areas. Goes through Scioto Township, starts in Jackson and goes way out by Cove Road, almost to the county line. A section of that road is closed this morning. As of 7:35 a.m., we've not received any information to change that. But it's the section of Just Go West Road between Harrison Road and Pennington Road. That's out there a little bit from town. But
Okay.
if you're using that to get from A to Z, you're going to have to turn around and go another way. So
Yes.
just give you a little bit of a heads up on that. And that is, of course, due to a down power line
Shocker.
and tree. So,
Which are still falling, by the way, because of all the wet.
right. And the sheriff's office did add this line in there as well. They said to avoid the area because you're unable to turn around and travel in the area. So, if you're going through there unaware that section of road is closed, and then you run into it, it may be difficult to turn around because of the location. So,
Okay.
all right, speaking of the electric power situation, are you ready? You can clap your hands because as of last night, AEP Ohio did meet its estimated restoration time of everybody being back in service by 11 p.m. last night. Not sure when it occurred, maybe before 11 p.m., but as of this morning when I checked, 0 outages in Jackson County, 0 outages in Vinton County.
Nice.
And of course, they serve a good part of the state. And I know they're still working on some, but, they've got everything here locally in our 2 counties. Buckeye Rural Electric continues to make very good progress. Remember, their task is extremely difficult going back into the boonies and back
Yes,
roads to try to.
They're way out there.
Right. But as of this morning, they are down to 150 customers out in Jackson County and 50 in Vinton County. So a total of 200 customers in the 2 counties. It's all Buckeye Rural that are still out. And remember, back on Saturday, we were talking about 10,000 being out. So you're talking
we're
about
definitely on the right track.
right, a lot of work. And this morning, when I first checked, pretty early, Buckeye Rural had 188 out in Jackson County, and they're down to 150 within a couple hours after
Okay.
that. So
They're getting
they're
there.
working on it as we speak. Jackson County, though, in its 8-county area, is the county right now with the most remaining outages. And you're talking about to the west of Jackson where some of these are. So,
Okay.
and there's others, but that's the main area out, of course, in the rural areas. And we'll, of course, continue to monitor that, update our reports on the internet and on the radio as well. All right, one of the stories that we have in our Wednesday paper comes out of the court system. Last week, there was a week-long trial that involved charges against a Jackson man for multiple counts of rape that involved children. All right, and as a result of that trial, Eric Durth, age 55 of Jackson, that there is Eric Durth's photo right there, he was convicted by the jury on all 3 counts of rape, which were brought to trial. Originally, he did have 6 counts against him, a 4th count of rape, and also 3 counts of gross sexual imposition, which is a lesser charge. Those were all dismissed because we understand a juvenile witness was unable to testify, but with the other testimony and evidence that they had, the jury apparently felt that there was a conviction should occur, and it did as of Friday. No sentencing yet.
Okay.
However, Jackson County prosecuting attorney Randy Dupree, based on what is established in Ohio law, says that Durth is facing potential prison terms of 10 years to life on each of the 3 counts. So with easy multiplication, 30 years to life, if they would be imposed in that bracket and consecutively.
Okay.
So they often do what is called a pre-sentence investigation, where the judge looks at all the factors involved in determining sentencing, because every case is not exactly the same.
Right.
So that'll be done, and then when that sentence is pronounced, we'll certainly pass along that information too. This was an investigation that was done originally by the Jackson Police Department. At the time, they told the Telegram, and we reported at the time, that multiple families reported the alleged crimes by Durth on August 29, 2022. The alleged incidents, and this is when all the charges came out, the 6 charges. The alleged incidents involved multiple children and occurred in July of 2022. The victims ranged in age from ages 7 to less than 13. So,
Okay.
once again, that is Jackson County prosecuting attorney Randy Dupree. He handled the work in the trial for the state. He was assisted by an assistant AG, but Randy Dupree has actually done a lot of the main trials himself in Jackson County Common. He's out front on that. And I believe the defense attorney were out-of-town attorneys. Harry Reinhart was one of them for the defense. So the only thing left to report on that is the sentence, which could take several weeks before that happens. The report has to be done, and then a sentencing schedule will be done. But Eric Durth has been in jail ever since the indictment and the arrest without bond. All right. Okay, another thing we want to tell you about, the NAACP Southern Ohio branch, that represents the NAAC branch of Jackson, Gallia, and Lawrence counties. They have a Freedom Banquet every year.
Okay.
Other NAACP branches also do this, but this is one of their main events of the year, and it is scheduled for this Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Jackson County OSU Extension Office out there on Standpipe Drive. And the new thing on this was reported earlier that they're having the banquet. They wanted to sell tickets and let people know. But they've had to change the keynote speaker here in the last week. Mike Stroff was supposed to do a speech, be the keynote speaker, and he's a walking history book. But due to medical reasons, he's going to be unable to do that. And they've got a replacement who also knows a lot about history, and that is Ron Salmons.
Okay.
You know Ron?
Yep.
Okay, Ron is a resident of Berlin Crossroads. I don't know whether he's got. There he is.
Yep.
As you can see, he is a Civil War buff. He's got on a Union officer's uniform there, and he has done multiple presentations on that battle that occurred out there. Really, his property is part of where that battle took place.
He has all kind of fun artifacts too.
He
from out
does.
there.
He does. He has more than anybody else from that battle. But anyway, he will be doing the keynote speech. I wasn't told for sure that he'll be talking about the Battle of Berlin Heights in history, but there's a good chance of it. So anyway, that will be at 7 p.m. at the Jackson County Extension Office. Okay, another thing that's going to occur on Saturday, and I plan to attend this, and I tell you what, you got to give the folks with the Bloomfield School Alumni Association a lot of credit. You know, there hasn't been a Bloomfield High School since 1951. That was when the high school ceased to operate. This school building continued to operate as an elementary school in the Oak Hill School District, okay?
Yeah, which is very ironic because it's super close to Jackson.
It is. I'm not sure what the story was on that. I think it might have been availability of space and like that in the Jackson School District. But anyway, the Bloomfield Alumni Association is having a reunion. They do a reunion every year, even though it's been many years since there's been a high school there. Of course, they also consider their alumni students who may have gone to the elementary school, which, by the way, closed in 2004
Okay.
when Oak Hill built its new schools. And now that building has since been demolished. It hung around there for a while, but it's no
Yep.
longer there. But this is the 100th anniversary of the first graduating class of Bloomfield High School.
Oh, fun.
The building was built in 1921. The first graduating class came through in 1924. So, 100 years this year. So instead of doing their normal reunion, which they often have at the VG Church in June or when a lot of the alumni events happen, they decided to back it up a little bit, do something special. And it's going to be this Saturday, and it's going to be on the grounds right there where the school sat.
That's
So
neat.
that'll rekindle some memories. They'll have a big tent there. They'll be ready for any kind of weather, but it looks like it's going to be warm enough, Janice Davis, who was a graduate there of the Bloomfield School. She's been my communications contact on. It's given me all kinds of information. But there's a special invitation. It's free for anybody to come. They will have finger food. It'll be free. They'll take donations if you want to give them, but they've already taken care of that. It will be there. Special invitation to alumni of the high school, but also students and staff of the school all the way through, including the elementary years after the high school closed.
That's pretty cool.
The public is welcome to come as well. But they'll have a program. Dr. Paul Stahl, who is a veterinarian, he graduated from Jackson High School in '57, but in his younger years, he attended the Bloomfield schools out that way, east of Jackson, and he will be the guest speaker. Janice says they'll give other folks who graduated from there a chance to stand up and talk about their memories and like that. So it should be a very, very special event. And even though it is an alumni event of main interest to folks who have an association or attended Bloomfield School, anybody can come. They want to make that clear. So should be a very special event out there, and we'll be providing some coverage. All right, the only other thing that I want to talk about is the 6th annual Vinton County Oktoberfest Campout will take place at the Vinton County Fairgrounds. And more of the folks at the Jackson County Fair Board and the Vinton County Fair Board are finding ways to use their grounds other than just during Fair Week.
Absolutely.
Whether it's
They're
something
great venues.
Right, whether it's something they're doing or something, they're renting it out or allowing somebody else to use it. But this is the 6th year now that they've had an Oktoberfest campout at Vinton County. I know they do something similar at Jackson County Fairgrounds too, but this one here in Vinton County is this weekend. So you can camp out from Friday evening all the way to Sunday morning. They'll have special events on Friday and Saturday, an adult trick-or-treat at 8 p.m. on Friday, and then a youth trick-or-treat at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and a demolition derby. That'll always draw them.
Oh, well, heck yeah.
At 5 p.m. on Saturday. Camping will be available all weekend. Sites with electric and water will cost $100. Full hookup sites will cost $125. So, and of course, all this supports the Fair Board and things that they're trying to do at the fairgrounds.
Plus, it's just fun.
Right. Okay. Well, so we have run 3 minutes over.
It's okay.
So I am sorry, but I wanted to get all that in, and we'll pick up on some other things tomorrow.
It's all very important, so we have to get it out there.
Right.
All right. Well, we hope that you've enjoyed the program today. I've learned so much about hatching chickens. And we're going to have some on your desk here pretty soon.
Okay. Well, that's okay. That's okay with me. Now, they are potty trained, right?
Ooh, I didn't ask her about that.
Okay. Well, that might be a consideration
Teach them to use a litter box.
on my part. I mean, it's not the neatest desk in the world, but right now there is no chicken poop.
Yeah.
All right.
True that. All right.
Am I allowed to say that on the air?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, the Telegram is your ticket to the latest buzz in town.
Read your daily dose of local headlines, sports, and entertainment and more, in hand and on paper.
Get a print and digital subscription for only $7.95 per month. Delivered fresh every Wednesday and Saturday.
Visit thetelegramnews.com or call 740-28.
Don't just read the news, be a part of it.